I've told you time and time again to run all of your accident related medical bills through health insurance when applicable. But now you think, hey, I have a high deductible. Is this really going to help me? We're going to find out on this week's Monday Morning Lawyer. Good morning, everybody, and happy Monday. This is your Elkton accident and injury attorney, Joe with Bowers, coming at you from my Elkton office. Today, we're talking again about health insurance and how it plays into an accident claim, but we're going to address the topic surrounding high deductible auto insurance or health insurance plans. High deductible. Sometimes these can be $6,000, $7,000 in a year. And if you don't know, a deductible is what you, as the insured, have to pay first before the health insurance starts paying effectively everything beyond that. And there are some exceptions to that, copays and otherwise. But what happens? Because I've talked in the past about, hey, run your medical bills through your health insurance. It's going to give you the benefit of their pre-negotiated contract pricing. And even though we might have to pay your health insurance company back, it's still less than what the bill cost. The example that I often like to give, because pricing is all over the place and insurance reimbursement plans are all over the place, but there's one item that seems to have a relatively uniform across the board range, certainly not precise pricing, but a range that tends to match throughout the markets, and that's getting an MRI. If you get an MRI in Maryland, it's going to cost you somewhere between $1,500 to in the low twos, $2,000, $2,200, something like that. If you go get one in Delaware, it might cost you as much as $4,000. But again, it's still in a tight little $3,000 to $4,000 range. Why is it different? Different topic for a different day. We're not going to dive into that today, but it's kind of shady. Health insurance. The health insurance reimbursements on an MRI, and there are variables depending on where you get the MRI body part and whether there's contrast or anything else like that that will escalate prices. But in general, the reimbursement from a health insurance company per the contract is usually somewhere between $300 and $500. What does that mean? It means that even though the medical company for the MRI might charge you $2,000 on an invoice, they have contractually agreed through your health insurance company or Medicare, Medicaid, because those are uniform and across the board, to accept that contract pricing, $300, $400, $500. It's whatever it is. And here's how the math works. If you have a plan, let's say like a Medicaid, where there is no deductible, there is no copay, if that reimbursement is $350, then the Medicaid company is going to send the medical provider the $350. The bill is paid in full. If you have a copay, and we're going to use that $350 number just as an example and an illustrator here. If you have, let's say, $100 deductible for radiology, which is the category that an MRI falls under, when that gets submitted to the health insurance company is going to say, hey, our contract, you billed $3,000 or $2,000 or $4,000. Great. But based on this code in our contract, you're getting paid and you're accepting as payment in full $350. Here is a check from the health insurance company for $250. This patient has a $100 deductible. They owe you the last $100. So what the medical provider is being paid is still the $350 of the contract, but because of the copay, you owe $100. The health insurance company owes $250. Boom, $350. If you have a deductible and you have not met the deductible yet, okay, that same $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 bill is going to be submitted to health insurance. This is important because a lot of people overlook this. A lot of people miss this step because they assume with a high deductible that the insurance company's not going to pay the bill, which is accurate until you've met the deductible. But please pay attention because this is super important. It's going to help you out a lot if you are in one of these situations. Let's say you have a $6,000 deductible and you get this MRI. And we're at the beginning of your health insurance plan year, so nothing has gone toward the deductible yet. You get this MRI. The bill is $2,000. It gets sent to your health insurance company. Your health insurance company processes it and says, you will accept $350 as payment in full per our contract. This patient has a deductible that they haven't met yet. Collect the $350 from that patient. Boom. So now you are still paying the $350 instead of your health insurance company paying the $350. But that $350 also, so you got the benefit of the reduction. Let's just stop there. That's where it's really worth it because the bill went from $2,000 to $350, a $1,650 savings. Okay. We still, as injury attorneys in Maryland, get to submit the full invoice price, that $2,000 or whatever it is, to the insurance company, to the judge, to a jury in the evaluation and negotiation of this claim value. So you get the full benefit of the billed price. You only have to pay the deductible amount after the adjustment, and that $350 chips away at your deductible. So if your health insurance plan year begins January 1st, and they all start at different months and run for a 12-month cycle. But if you get an accident on January 2nd, and you've had no other medical care, and you go to the ER, and you go in an ambulance, and you end up getting an MRI, and you end up getting several months worth of physical therapy, the likelihood through that process, submitting everything to health insurance, of you meeting that deductible as a result of this accident, even though those amounts up to that $6,000 have to be paid out of your settlement proceeds, or some of my clients, rare, but some of my clients want to pay those bills with their own money, knowing that, hey, I pay them, the invoices stop coming, and I'm just going to get more money at the end when I settle the case. True. And the doctors, unlike the attorneys, don't work on a contingency. So you owe that money one way or the other. So you've now met that deductible through the treatment for your accident case. You don't have to pay the health insurance company back the $6,000 because you're paying that directly to the providers, whether you're doing it up front or whether you're doing it out of the settlement. You've now met your deductible, which means if you get the flu in October later that year and you go get a bunch of medical care, no deductible. There might be a copay. You might have a co-insurance because all of these plans are drastically different. So I couldn't do a podcast episode once a week and talk about every different permutation and combination of insurance and medical provider and talk about anything else. I could literally talk about a different health insurance plan every week for a year and not cover them all. There are so many options, so many variables. So we try to talk about the general, this is why it's good for you. The reason you run the health insurance, deductible or not, is to get the benefit of that contract pricing. It's money in your pocket at settlement time. It's great stuff. So that is the benefit. That is the main reason, and a different twist and a different demonstration of how it comes into play with a high deductible plan. So keep that in mind. Always use your health insurance in a Maryland accident case for any of your injury care when you can, how you can. It's going to help you immensely. Every week, Monday morning, 11 a.m., tune in. If you have a topic that you want me to talk about, info@bowerslawmd.com. Put the question or the topic in there. I'm not going to mention your name. Also, make sure you mention that you want it discussed on the podcast, or I might just answer your question. I say this every week. It's not going to change. Also, if it's not about an accident thing, but it is about a law thing, that's okay. It may take me a little longer to bring that episode on because I will, as I've done in the past, bring a guest on that actually does that type of law. We've done this for criminal stuff. We've done it for expungements. We've done it for estate planning. We've done it for those school victim cases, all sorts of stuff. I've brought guests on. We've talked about that topic, and it wasn't accident related. So we'll definitely do that. If you're looking for those older episodes, back catalog, if you will, go to bowerslawmd.com. We haven't launched the podcast website yet, but right there where it says podcast up in the top, you click that. It's going to give you all the entire archive of the past podcast episodes, all sorts of wonderful topics, different takes on the scenario of PIP insurance, health insurance, underinsured motorist coverage, right and wrong in an accident, all sorts of stuff, more than you would ever care to know, and then some. So that's all the time I have. Be well, be safe out there, everybody. Be warm. Hopefully, spring's coming. Next week, we're going to find out if the groundhog sees his shadow and whatever that means. So maybe we do a Groundhog Day episode next week. Probably not. That's all the time I have. Be well, be safe out there.